What is up? Welcome to the channel. For all my new viewers, you are now a part of the Totodile gang, and no, you don't have a choice. Today we're talking about Blaziken EX, which very well could be the future of energy acceleration. So, if you didn't know, Blaziken EX is coming to the meta March 28th with the Journey Together set. I may or may not have made a video on the best cards in Journey Together, and I completely forgot about Blaziken, so we're making up for that now. The big draw behind Blaziken is its ability Overflowing Spirit, which allows you to attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon once per turn. This is simply overpowered. With Crispin in the meta, we can now essentially attach 3 energies in one turn if we have one Blaziken in play. And if you're using Terra Pokemon and a Sparkling Crystal, that can now essentially be 4 energies in one turn, which is ridiculous. And if that wasn't enough, as far as we know, this ability can stack, meaning that if you have multiple Blazikens down on your bench, you could be accelerating 2 or 3 energies from your discard pile to your Pokemon in one turn. Now, when the English translation officially comes out, we will find out if we can use more than one Overflowing Spirit ability per turn. I have a feeling they might cap that at 1, but if they don't, Blaziken could be nasty for huge energy requirement decks. It seemed like Pokemon was really trying to slow down the meta and make it so that games didn't last just 2 to 3 turns. And then they turn around and give players the option to take a 4 energy attack on turn 2, which just feels completely counterintuitive. I really don't understand this move by Pokemon, and maybe they have some sort of gameplay state they have in mind, and if releasing some Pokemon that slows us way down and then releasing some Pokemon that speeds us way up gets us there, like, whatever, I guess. I don't know, I guess we'll find out. But anyways, my frustrations with Pokemon aside, I do think Blaziken EX will be a very intriguing addition to the meta when it comes out, and I feel like it has a pretty solid chance of having a decent impact right on its release. A few decks that I could see utilizing Blaziken are Hydreigon to make that Obsidian Flame attack more reasonable, any Pikachu based deck, any of the Evolution decks, pretty much any deck that relies on an attack that utilizes 3 or 4 varying energies, or an attack that discards energies could be a candidate to add Blaziken into the mix. If double turbo based decks like Klawf find themselves really struggling with just Crispin, Blaziken could hypothetically be added in to make sure they have the ability to get an attacker up and going in one turn. Now, I figure Blaziken will largely be utilized for its ability because its attack isn't anything too special, hitting for 200 damage for 2 energies, but Blaziken cannot attack during your next turn. It is definitely a hindrance that Blaziken is a stage 2, so I could see some sort of grand tree build to make sure you can get your Blazikens down with a deck that requires a lot of specific energies. I did see a super fun perspective list that utilizes Blaziken and Weevil to be an absolutely nasty paralyzed deck by Justin Basil, the same dude who puts out all of the English translated cards that I use on this channel, so shout out to him. This list does run Grand Tree and the Dusk line to make sure that you can snipe and clean up on the bench while Weevil hits into the active for 70 and keeps them trapped and paralyzed. Now, Weevil does discard all energies attached when it attacks, so here's where Blaziken comes in, allowing us to paralyze turn after turn. Plus, we also have Pidgeot EX in there to grab any specific cards that we need. Another big combo I could see would be Blaziken and Salamence. Salamence can hit for 300, but it discards 2 energies, which just so happens to be Blaziken's specialty. Utilizing multiple stage 2 Pokemon makes Grand Tree a pretty obvious play for this deck, plus a few copies of TM Evolution to make sure we can get all of our boys up and running. An ideal run for this deck would look like getting Salamence up turn 2, hitting for 50 damage to all of our opponent's benched Pokemon, then managing to get Blaziken up the next turn so that we can hit for that 300. This deck could also run Defiance Band or Gravity Mountain to try and one-hit KO Zard, Dragapult, and any other Pokemon that falls in that 330 HP range. Now, in terms of decks that are actually already having a little bit of success, there was a Blaziken, Greninja EX, ENZ Zoroark deck that actually finished 5th at a City League in Tokyo. This is a wild list, utilizing Precious Trolley to get down a bunch of basics, probably trying to attack with Greninja early while setting up Zoroark as a draw engine and an attacker for later in the game, all while Blaziken is there to assist for energies. One thing that really stands out to me about this deck is that they don't run a lot of supporters, with Drayton being the highest supporter count at 3. This is really cool to see, because I really wasn't sure if the N deck could actually be competitive with just Reshiram and Darmanitan as attackers, but these City League results are actually giving me some hope. On the other hand, this is the only Blaziken deck that I found, and I looked through pretty much all of the City League results since rotation. So that indicates to me that Blaziken might not quite have the impact that I thought it would. However, we always have to keep in mind that Japan's meta is very different from us. Hell, this time last year, Dragapult was tearing it up in City Leagues just to not do much of anything in the US for like 9 months. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Blaziken EX. I wish I had tossed this into the last video, but hey, no one's perfect, and this is a more in-depth look into it. I still think this Pokemon will have a pretty solid impact on the meta and will be used as an energy engine for its entire time in legality. Let me know down in the comments if you're excited for Blaziken EX, and let me know any decks that you think Blaziken would fit nicely into. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a little like and subscribe, and hey, if you really liked it, maybe consider hitting that notification bell to be notified every time I drop a video or go live. I stream every Tuesday and Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time, so let me know any decks you want to see on stream. And thank you so much again, I really appreciate y'all. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see y'all next time.